good evening, good afternoon, good night, good whenever you're listening to us. Welcome to another episode of Untitled Chapter Dark, the long form edition.
So you did it really fast.
Yes, I did it really fast. I'm like that guy from
The Micro Machines commercials?
The Micro Machines guy. John Moshida was his name.
That's his name, yep.
John Moshida. He played Blur in the Transformers movie. He was on FedEx commercials. Yeah. So anyway, I am Mr. Rob Robot Shlomo. I'm coming to you from Shabby Road Studios. And with me, as always, is Mr. Tommyknockers.
I am indeed, sir. You're definitely not Rob Robot Slow-Mo tonight. That's for sure.
Give me some more caffeine, more coffee. So anyway, we're glad to have you with us. We got a lot of news for you people, good people. And why don't we just dive right in, shall we?
Head first. So, Rob, there's a little bit more movement on this CBS Viacom merger. We reported about it a little bit more. Of course, this is something that we've covered here and there since it was announced. Give us a little bit more info on that, which recently just surfaced here on the interwebs.
Yes, Deadline is reporting that the CBS Viacom merger is actually in motion. It comes right from Deadline. CBS's plans to make an all-stock offer for Viacom, pegging its value below current market valuation. Sources familiar with the matter have confirmed. The initial offer to Viacom, which is expected to come within a matter of days, proposes installing CBS chief executive Leslie Moonves at the helm of the merged company for at least 2 years, Reuters reported. It's unclear where that would leave Viacom CEO Bob Bakish, who's been attempting to effect a turnaround and has won some points in some quarters for being a welcome change from predecessor Philippe Dahlman. The companies hope to reach an agreement before May when they report quarterly results. Talks could be difficult if they start with a below market offer for Viacom, though clearly CBS has had a far better run than its one-time corporate mate. Viacom bought CBS in 2000, but the companies then split in 2006. They abandoned similar merger talks in 2006. It goes on to say that shares of both companies have been treading water of late. In today's trading session, Viacom dropped nearly 2% to end at 30. Okay, some stock information. So what's happening is that CBS is making an all-stock offer. Okay, they want the company stock. They're gonna try to buy them with the stock offer. They're offering below market value. Typically, what happens, you start with a ridiculously low offer. The other party comes in with a ridiculously high offer. You try to meet somewhere in the middle. That's how negotiation works.
But Viacom doesn't have much of a choice here, do they?
No, Viacom
is kind of what it's getting to.
Yes, Viacom's been taking it on the chin lately. They are still struggling. People are cord cutting in record numbers, or so I'm told. But every time I talk to somebody, do you have cable? Yeah, I have cable. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Which, like you said, isn't helping CBS much either. But this is kind of the way I'm gathering from what you're telling is they're doing a little bit better than Viacom, so they're the ones who are going to be in control, steering going forward, kind of thing.
Well, what this is going to do, the Deadline article actually says, what this is going to do is, it says a bulk of CBS Viacom would have the financial wherewithal to bid for increasingly expensive sports rights and gain leverage in negotiations with TV distributors, both traditional pay TV providers as well as online streaming services that gain popularity to viewers. So they would be able to, from being a merged company with Viacom and CBS together, they would, let's just, for the purposes of discussion, be able to bid on the Olympics. They would get Major League Baseball. They would be able to, shore up the football, NFL rights, the NFL package, like I said, or, get the NHL, or whatever it is. CBS, the way that cable works is the parent company, oftentimes they will bundle packages together. They will bundle for cable companies. Hey, you want CBS? You got to take these 4 or 5 other channels with them, or otherwise no deal. So, and that's actually, if you've been paying attention to the cable industry lately, that's been a big sticking point where cable companies have been holding up the parent companies for more money for the cable packages, like Spike. It happened to Spike TV. It happened to
Fox was a big one, yeah.
Fox, Comedy Central. It happened in my area with the Yes Network. Comcast wouldn't play ball to carry the New York Yankees Yes Network. It's been happening a lot lately. So CBS, this would give them more leverage in negotiations with cable companies. That's kind of the idea. And of course, like I said, it brings together a lot of different other things. And it would also give them more access to Viacom properties for CBS's streaming services as well.
Right. You brought up Comcast before, and that's a very important thing, because this will also help not only CBS, but both Viacom and CBS continue to stay relevant going forward in what's probably going to become a streaming war. This will help set up CBS All Access a little bit better, giving them more access to things like you pointed out, a lot more classic television and possibly even movies and whatnot. So that's going to be a big change there. But like we brought up before, this will also unify Star Trek. So theoretically, things could get better for that franchise for those who aren't happy with how those things are going over there. But we can't say that for sure right now because we have no idea going forward. We've had so many different reports about even when we're getting a second season of Star Trek Discovery. Plus we have more reports about movies and scripts, and we'll get into all that on Trek Logs in an upcoming show here. But for now, we're just going to kind of leave it at this, because this is just basically stating that this is one step closer to the end. We're getting there. It's almost unified. This isn't as big of a deal as, say, Disney and Fox or Warner Brothers and AT&T, but it's still a big deal because it allows them to compete in that market going forward.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to see fewer and fewer media companies actually in the near future, and there's going to be like maybe 3 or 4, maybe even 5 media companies that are going to own everything. The media landscape is shrinking, and this is part of it.
Yeah, some of that's not good. Some of it's not going to be bad, but there's not much we can do about it. It's just none of these companies are going to be able to sustain themselves if they're not going to be part of what's going forward, and that's a big part of this is streaming. We're going to see a streaming war going forward, and we're going to talk a lot about that in other shows and stuff, so we're not going to get into that here, but I have a feeling that's what a lot of this is about too, is besides the fact that Viacom is basically drowning, and
yeah, this
CBS ain't doing much better, but
no, CBS is, but they're in a better position because they have a lot of affiliates around the country. They have the most affiliates,
right? More liquidity, I'm sure, because of their advertising and all that stuff too.
Yeah, this will help Viacom more than it helps CBS, really. I mean, it's going to help. It'll help both, but this will help Viacom more. So we want to know what you guys think about this. We have a follow-up to our Deadpool story, isn't that right, Tom?
Well, it's like every time we turn around, there's new news about this. It's crazy.
Well, new news or new old news, or, fresh new old news, or whichever, day old news.
Well, I was going to say, of course, after we recorded, we were able to stumble upon that script.
Yeah. Those tweets, just for clarification, the tweets have been taken down, actually. But you still can find the script. You can find the annotated version. I think it's posted at The Guardian. Regardless of what you think of The Guardian, they have a version of it. So, I've read this. I've read the 16-page.
Yeah, most pages that you've gone looking for, obviously all the tweets are down. A lot of times if you go to try and find the video for the animation leak, that's down, which we've got a clarification about that as well. But go ahead and tell them, Rob, what you got for us.
Yeah, the script actually wasn't horrible. It really wasn't. There's a lot of current jokes, like meta jokes in it. There's a lot of fourth wall breaking jokes in it. The way it goes is Deadpool is in Africa, and he's been hired to protect the last white rhino named Sudan. And he's asleep. The first scene, he's asleep in the back of a Jeep, and he's having a dream, and he says, "Don't let Dr. Ben Carson operate on me." So, which I thought was pretty good. And he wakes up, and he's been hired. He's being paid in Bitcoin, and he's getting the Bitcoin updates on his phone. Oh no, oh yay, I'm rich. Oh no, I'm poor. And the way Bitcoin goes. There was one joke he made about teachers and the recent rash of school shootings.
Well, give him a little context.
Yeah, he takes out a couple guards, and he says, Deadpool says, American teachers, you might want to take notes. And that's the extent of that joke. I mean, I didn't think it was in horror. It's a very Deadpool joke.
Right.
You might say too soon, but I didn't think it was that bad.
I mean, this wasn't even supposed to air till next fall. So,
yeah.
Okay, I'll give him that. But we were talking a little bit about this before we started recording here. And I pointed out to you, the guys who made South Park, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, they earned a lot of their leeway as far as what they could get away with over time. Sure, they were edgy at first, but they were able to get more and more edgy over time. They had to earn that, though. So maybe that's kind of where FXX got a little bit of cold feet. And like we said at the end of the other report, that maybe that was just like the last straw. And I think that was something that he was even said in one of the quotes of the text. So,
yeah, or
the posts on Twitter. So, I mean, really, this was something that probably was just, they just couldn't see eye to eye on and kept going back and forth about. And, you know, there's only so many times you can cut or change jokes before I'm sure you get frustrated and you're like, well, what is it you want from us? You guys obviously hired us for a certain job and we're trying to do that, but you're not happy, etc. I mean, I'm not saying that's what happened, but that's hypothetically a probability. Because tell us a little bit about the whole animation deal now, because there was a little bit of at first we thought that this was an actual piece of the animation that we were going to see, when the company that actually leaked the animation is not the company that was going to be working on the show. Is that right, Rob?
Yeah. The name of the company that did the test animation, that the test footage that got leaked, is called Titmouse. Please, and get those thoughts right out of your head. That is a real animal. But I
think that's fitting for Deadpool.
That is fitting for Deadpool. That animation looked actually pretty good. It really did. But that's not the company that FX and FXX wanted to go with. They wanted to go with a company called Radical Axis. Now, if you're not familiar with that name, you probably are familiar with their work. Radical Axis is the company that animates Archer. They're based out of Atlanta. They actually do Archer. They do Aqua Teen Hunger Force. They did Sea Lab 2021. They do Squidbillies.
So obviously they wanted to go with a company they have a long history with, and it sounds to me like the Glover brothers wanted to go with this other company, right? Or at least that's the rumor that's going around.
That sounds like it's the case. Now, in all fairness to Radical Axis, the Archer animation has gotten a lot better over recent years. If you look at the beginning, if you go back and you watch season 1 of Archer, the animation, it's very rigid looking. It almost looks like a motion comic, you know, like you get those $10 DVDs at Best Buy.
It's like Flash animation.
Yeah, it's almost like Flash animation. It kind of reminds me of those early Marvel cartoons, you know, what you see from the 1960s, when Captain America throws his mighty shield.
Where they really did Filmation kind of, and Hanna-Barbera did the same thing, but they really did it with the Marvel animations you're talking about, where they literally just basically traced images out of the comic and had the mouth move, and that was it. And maybe the eyes would work back and forth, and that's about it.
You try to have the image as static as possible, so that way you have to animate as little as possible. But it looks, like I said, it looks like FXX wanted to go with Radical Axis over Titmouse. You can't blame them, actually. But the big downside is that it takes Radical Axis a long time to do an episode of Archer. It really does. I don't know what the production time would have been for this other company, Titmouse, but I'm wondering how much of the series is in the can, really. I really do. I really do. And the other thing was that there's actually a couple shots taken at Marvel. And in the script.
That could be another thing.
Here's a line out of it. Deadpool saying, "It just feels like everyone wants something different, but no one wants to do anything different to get it. Doesn't Marvel have enough feel-good minority shows everyone supports but doesn't watch?" I mean, think of I think our show would have been funny. I just wanted a place to be. To be honest, and I guess that place is Freeform. Freeform, referring to the Freeform network. So yeah, they do have Deadpool take a few shots at Marvel. But as we said before, I mean, a lot of stuff's been happening with Fox and Marvel properties, and this all cannot be a coincidence. Things seem to be lining up in a weird way.
And yeah, and just to clear up another thing, in the last report we talked about the whole Taylor Swift issue. Some people in the comment think that we were stating that in some way Taylor Swift had something to do with it directly. No. As far as we know anyway, there was no contact between her people and FXX or anything like that, and that's where we were trying to speculate as to why there would even be a connection to where FXX would be scared of Taylor Swift. That's what we meant there, and it's kind of the same thing now. It's like, what is going on there? Something isn't right. or at least it's starting to look more and more like, now here's a theory, that Disney is starting to get more involved because all of a sudden you have 2 movies get pushed back. One of them is a huge big movie and is just, you can't understand why it would get pushed back, and that would be X-Men. And then now this. And Deadpool's a huge property right now. And you're on a network or a cable network, so you can get away with a lot more. Something just ain't smelling right. I don't know.
Yeah, but just for further clarification, I still don't like Taylor Swift. I really don't like her. I don't like her. She's sitting down courtside at the Garden, and I'm way up in the nosebleeders. I'm not even in the nosebleeders. I'm watching on television. Thanks a lot. So, but anyway, we want to know what you guys think. So, do you share your disdain for Taylor Swift as much as I do? Do you like Deadpool? Do you? Were you looking forward to this series? What do you think of the recent developments? Let us know in the comments.
Oh, you made it to where I couldn't get any of my Taylor Swift jokes in there. God damn it.
I am not the biggest Stephen King fan. Tom, you are. So why don't you walk us through this, if you will, please? There is apparently another version of Tommyknockers in the works, isn't there?
Well, it turns out the classic novel by Stephen King, The Tommyknockers, is being updated once again. This time around, Aquaman, Conjuring, and Insidious director James Wan is behind it. Also, of course, James Wan from the Fast and the Furious series as well, of course, or as Rob likes to call it, men drive car fast as it is known overseas, he says. There was an ABC miniseries back in 1993 with Jimmy Smits and Marg Helgenberger, but there is no news yet as far as anybody else who's going to be involved outside of Roy Lee. They will act as producers, and Juan will also direct as well. So it's coming from Vertigo Entertainment. It's not a horrible Stephen King story, not one of my favorites. A lot about aliens, and I think it's one of those that's got a lot of attachments to the other books. Like, he has his own little universe, kind of like how Kevin Smith and Tarantino and, of course, the Marvel have their universe, which is a, obvious example. This is one of those books that really ties into that, from what I remember, at least has some characters. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. And of course, in the wake of it, it's no surprise that we're hearing about a lot more Stephen King adaptations, even though a lot of these things were in the works before that made it to theaters. That's obviously helped a lot of these things move along faster. So what do you guys think of the Tommyknockers? Are you looking forward to it? Is it one of your favorite Stephen King stories? Is it one you don't care about? Let us know.
Yeah, like, this internet is cool. Of course, for you younger kids who don't know what I'm doing, you think I've had a stroke. No. A couple of our favorite cartoon. How would you describe them?
Cartoon characters or icons at this point?
Yeah, are about to make could be making a return. We're referring to, of course, Beavis and Butt-Head. An interview with Rotten Tomatoes, Mike Judge, creator of Beavis and Butt-Head and King of the Hill, said that the pubescent horned toads might be making a comeback.
That's right. And I am excited to hear this, if it's true. We did get some new Beavis and Butt-Head a few years back, but it was only a few episodes. Yeah. Not very many.
Yeah, and with everything going on, social media and television and everything, I think it would be high time for them to return. The story I have is sourced from the Enemy, which is the New Music Express, which is a big, for those in America who are not familiar with it, it's a big music publication, entertainment publication in the UK. And this is from a man named Nick Riley. He says, speaking to Rotten Tomatoes, Judge claimed that a King of the Hill revival could be in the cards, although it is likely to focus on the Hill family at a later stage in their lives. It would have to have a passage of time, Judd said. People have grown up. I think The Simpsons are so iconic just the way they're drawn. You can keep Bart the same age for 60 years. Our characters, it was starting to strain a little bit to have Bobby still be at that age for so long. When it comes to Beavis and Butt-Head revival, Judge revealed that he recently discussed the prospect of resurrecting the delinquent teens for a new movie. That's a possibility too. It came up 2 months ago. It's just a matter of coming up with an idea that feels like it's worth doing, Judge admitted. They talked about a movie possibly. Actually, Mike Judge says he's had preliminary discussions given what's going on in the country, and they had a point of view how those characters would respond. And that's that actually comes from Dana Walden from Fox. They've been talking about it, so if you go back and watch it now, it still holds up very well. It really does.
Yeah. Well, have you seen any of the revival episodes from a few years back? It proved that Beavis and Butt-Head can still be relevant and funny now without changing them. And there you go. You don't change Beavis and Butt-Head, you change the world around them. So now instead of just commenting on videos, they're commenting on 16 and pregnant and, the internet and video games and, everything.
Yeah, they were... Actually, I saw the one when they were watching Jersey Shore. And one of them was trying to chart her history of past intimate partners. And Butthead goes, if you follow this chart back far enough, you could see the start of herpes. So, which I thought was absolutely...
Trace it back to patient 0.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny as shit.
Which I thought was absolutely hysterical. So...
Oh, it was... I could... If you have not seen that revival, it's available by itself. It's called Beavis and Butt-Head Volume 4, but it's actually that new season that MTV did. Check it out if you haven't seen it. It's fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
It's some of the best TV you'll see in a long time, and it just reminds you of how much of a comedic genius Mike Judge is.
And it's something we badly need now. We really do need a good laugh these days, don't we?
Oh yeah. I mean, and that was just it. I mean, Beavis and Butt-Head allowed the older generation to laugh at the younger generation to laugh at themselves and laugh at pop culture in general. And just, Mike Judge knew how to use these characters in a way, and he never compromised them. They always were who they were. They never took a different road because MTV corporate wanted this or that. Judge always stuck to his guns as far as who these characters were, what they stood for, and what they could do and couldn't do. And that's one thing, at least that commitment from him has kept them who they are. Even though MTV kind of owns them, he's still been able to kind of keep them in check that way.
Yeah. You younger guys in the audience and the older guys, let us know what you think about Beavis and Butt-Head. Are you excited for this? And you excited for King of the Hill? King of the Hill, I mean, that's nothing. King of the Hill was actually a really good series,
right?
Too.
And that's
one thing we didn't mention this.
Yeah, King of the Hill, actually, that news started about a year ago, and that doesn't surprise me with the, the Roseanne revival and all these other shows. That doesn't surprise me one bit. But at least Judge knows not to do it as a gimmick, or at least he knows how to do something fresh with it. Like he said, make Bobby older now, something like that.
Yeah, Bobby's probably in high school, maybe a senior-ish, getting ready to graduate, really still not that smart. That boy ain't right.
I'll tell you what.
Let us know what you guys think. You excited for this or not? Let us know. Excellent! For those who don't get that very 80s reference, and for those who do, one of my favorite movies, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. We have some movement on a third movie. Isn't that right, Tom?
Well, yeah, they've been talking about it for some time now. Bill and Ted, of course, were huge in the late 80s, as you mentioned. In 89, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure finally hit theaters after sitting on a shelf for a year due to every company that it came in contact with going out of business for some reason. But the movie still managed to be a hit. And then in 1991, they had a sequel, which before the recording, you said you weren't as big of a fan of, but I actually love the second film and think it's just as good as the first film.
Oh, I like it. Don't get me wrong. I really do like it, but I just like the first one better. That's all.
Right. I just like how the second film to me is like one of those movies where they did something different and just didn't rehash the original movie.
Attention, Rian Johnson.
Or half of Hollywood. Which actually was more the norm back then than it is now. It's more so because, that was all they did back then. Just do another one. Same thing.
Yeah, we love it. We love it. Do another one.
Just don't change anything. But yeah, they had a TV show, a live action one, plus an animated one, which for the first season, Alex Winter, Keanu Reeves, and George Carlin actually returned to do the voices for, but they didn't return for the live action series, which was very short-lived and kind of sucked, but we're not going to get into that. But yeah, it seems that Entertainment Weekly, along with PeopleTV.com, have gotten together with Keanu Reeves and the creators of Bill and Ted to do a little reunion interview with them this last weekend. And if you want to see the entire half-hour special, special. You could check that out on peopletv.com or on their app, and it's worth it. I watched it. It was pretty cool. In that interview, of course, they bring up the third movie, which has been talked about for a while now. We did get a title, which has also been talked about for a while now, but they said it was going to be called Bill and Ted Face the Music, so that hasn't changed. And they didn't really give us any specifics as far as the movie starting filming anytime soon, but you can imagine they'll probably try and get it going by next year. Yeah. I know a lot of the issue has been, Keanu Reeves is busy getting John Wick, and I think that he's contractually obligated to at least get the third one done first before he can work it in or something like that.
Well, one of the things that sort of rekindled interest is Keanu Reeves worked on Alex Winter's documentary. He helped him out, and that's sort of they've been friends for ages, but that really kind of got them going. Hey, maybe we should look into this.
Well, they were actually friends before Bill and Ted, and that I think they even bring that up in that interview, and they auditioned together along with other people, but there's all kinds of fun stories, especially if you check out that interview or if you've seen any of the bonus features on the DVDs or the latest Blu-ray from Shout Factor. There's all kinds of great stories along with it, and they've been friends, and they've stayed friends all these years, and basically what they're getting to is, Hollywood's a funny thing, and you gotta, get the money together and people behind the movie and make the movie, and in a day and age like this, it's a lot harder to surprise people because we've been talking about Bill and Ted 3 now for almost 3 years or better, and they're like, it's a slow process.
One of the things is they're waiting on financing. They're trying to get the financing together.
Right. Well, and MGM actually owns the rights, I think, so that's kind of where they're probably not in the best place to be.
Well, I do like the premise, though. I do like the premise that Bill and Ted are older. They're obviously married. They're married to the medieval princesses, obviously. They're supposed to be writing music that's going to change the world, and they haven't. So, actually, that is a pretty good premise, though. The guys who wrote the original, Chris Matheson and Ed Solomon, they're on board.
And of course, they wrote the sequel, and of course, they also have children, which they had at the end of the last film.
Yeah.
Which are also grown up. So there's even that they have to deal with as well. And like you said, the premise is it sounds like gold. And I heard earlier on, there's more to it, of course, as far as they address, where Rufus is gone, since sadly we lost George Carlin, so they have to address that. And I think that's a big part of the plot, though, as to what went wrong and why they didn't become Wild Stallions, the greatest band ever, and save the world and universe and bring it all together or whatever.
Who would be a great successor to Rufus? To George Carlin's Rufus, Dennis Leary, because you have the total opposite personality of George.
You guys are fucking idiots.
You guys are fucking idiots. Come on, get off your asses, all right, and get to writing some music, okay? Get
in the fucking phone booth. Get in the phone booth.
You think the Stones just sat around on their asses? Well, yeah, actually, they did just sit around their asses getting high, but but come on, when they had to put pen to paper, they did. Come on, let's go. So.
Wouldn't that be funny in the story, though, that they addressed the fact that phone booths have all disappeared because it was like part of the plot to stop Bill and Ted? That would be hilarious. I could see that.
Oh, man. But,
because they already had one adversary who wanted to stop them, so there's got to be more than one out there. Yeah. And I think I like I said, I read a lot about it a long time ago. This is not new news, but this is the first time they've been able to talk about it in a while. And they got everybody together, so it's a good chance they had a nice, healthy conversation about when we're going to do this. It'd be a good time to do this considering the anniversary's coming up, etc.
Yeah, and if anyone's actually been in a band, that's actually kind of how it works. You just kind of sit around for a while, you're dormant, and it's kind of time to start making music again. So
do not adjust your set. This is not a malfunction. This is the voice of Dicta Van Doomcock broadcasting from his hidden base at the center of the earth. I have tuned in to interrupt your broadcast to assist Tom in giving you an update to this video. You may proceed, Tom.
Thanks, Your Highness. I just asked for a bit of assistance. I didn't need the bells and whistles and all that, but cool, thanks.
What are you, nuts? What, should I have just kind of said something general like, excuse me, mind if I interject at this junction? What am I, Woody Allen? No, I am a mad scientist. I am Dicta Van Doomcock. I have epic equipment designed specifically to interrupt the broadcasts of YouTube subscribers and certain third world banana republics. Any time that I have a brain fart, I do not have a brain fart right now, but I just thought I'd help you out, seeing as you hate, as I do, the despicable vile contagion that is STD, Star Trek Discovery. I hate that damn thing with every fiber of my being, and so I thought, help a bro out, yo.
Sure, I get it. Why walk when you can run? Totally cool. Well, we'll be happy to have you on very soon on the Trek Log again, hopefully, and get to hear you rant and rave and help us destroy the evil, vile show known as STD. So thank you once again for your assistance so I could give our fine viewers this update to this story that happened while it was in progress. Thank you once again, Mr. Dictor Van Doomcocker, Your Highness. What do I call you? What do I call you?
I am Overlord DVD, the future ruler of Earth. Here at Xanadu, just kind of chilling. Yeah, I'm just chilling,
Okay.
Well, anyway, I'll let you get to it. Breaking news and all that. Scoop! Newsflash! Listen to Tom. That is all.
Thank you so much, Overlord Dictor Van Doomcock.
You're welcome.
So yes, as happens sometimes, as we are editing a video and get it ready to go up, more news drops on a subject. So I have some new information to add to our Bill and Ted report. It seems that the boys are a little farther along than they let on at first. Deeper into the report on Entertainment Weekly, we learn that not only does Bill and Ted Face the Music have a director, but possibly another star to announce along with the duo. It turns out that the gang have signed on director Dean Parasot, most well known for such movies as Galaxy Quest, Red 2, and the Jim Carrey film Fun with Dick and Jane. So evidently that's a little farther along than we had first thought. And they also talked about the possibility of Death himself, that's right, William Sadler, returning as the Grim Reaper as well. So another awesome announcement to go along with this. As soon as we get more information about this, we'll definitely pass it on. So let us know what you guys think down below. And of course, once again, thanks to Dictor Van Doomcock. You can check him out on YouTube at Overlord DVD.
So Tom, this is the part of the show where we like to recommend things, don't we?
We like to. Whether or not you guys take them, that's up to you. And there's no guarantee you will like it.
Yeah, there isn't.
But you might love it.
You might like it, you might hate it, but you might love it. So Tom, what do you got? You got a recommendation for us or not?
Spinal Tap. You made me think of it earlier.
yeah, this is my it was because I was doing some work on one of my guitars and I was channeling David St. Hubbins. So
yeah. I love that. This is Spinal Tap. If you guys haven't seen it, one of the world's funniest films ever. Definitely in that top 5 with Caddyshack, like you brought up last time, and definitely a classic. I know we've brought it up here before.
Yes,
it goes to 11, guys.
And if you've ever been in a band, a lot of it will seem familiar. So, yeah. I love this is Spinal Tap. I really do. So my recommendation is I always veer off into comedy. Is one of actually it's the second starring film from Rodney Dangerfield. The first one he was in was called Easy Money. Okay, that was good, but his signature role, the part he's gonna be known for all time, Thornton Mellon in Back to School. This has to be one of my favorite comedies of all time. I know I say that about every comedy, but it is the best. And it was shot actually in your neck of the woods at the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
It was, where also a friend of ours, Bill Hunt, went.
Yes.
And Harrison Ford.
Great. And Harrison Ford, yeah, great movie. Like I said, Rodney Dangerfield, Sally Kellerman.
Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr., very young Robert Downey Jr. And actually Terry Farrell from Deep Space Nine.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Was it? That's right. Yes. I'm like, she's. Oh man, you think she was pretty on Deep Space Nine?
I keep forgetting she was in so much stuff. It's weird.
She was. Yeah, she was in a lot of stuff. So check that out. And actually, do I have a second recommendation? I don't think I have a second recommendation.
That's enough. That's enough.
Yeah,
Back to
enough.
School.
That's more.
That's classics. Final Tap. That's a classic. After they get done watching Caddyshack and Easy Money.
And Back to School actually has a appearance from one of my favorite comedians, Sam Kinison.
One of the best scenes ever.
One of the greatest scenes ever. Yes. Oh man.
You want to see two comedians go toe to toe?
I mean, you're not going to see that kind of comedic talent on screen ever again, really.
Not since Caddyshack and never again.
No. So back to school, Rodney Dangerfield. And if you like our recommendations, why don't you click that subscribe button so you can hear more of them? Isn't it right, Tom?
Yes, yes.
And yeah, you click that subscribe button and you click the bell icon, you'll be notified of all the latest content that's uploaded. And if you really, really, really like what we do here and want to support the channel, you can do so through Patreon.
Yes, you can. And we have all kinds of goodies over there, including early sneak peeks or early versions of shows, sometimes the entire show, stuff that never even made its way to Midnight's Edge or Midnight's Edge After Dark. And you even get the story of how Midnight's Edge came to be, called Beyond the Edge, from Andre's mouth to your ears.
Yes, that sounds dirty. Like I said, like I always point out, you can support the channel for as little as $1 a month. And if you don't have the means to support the channel, then please click the subscribe button, click the bell icon, and share with all your friends and your enemies and your relatives.
Your frenemies.
Because, as I always say, we cannot do this without you. So, one more time, I am Mr. Rob Robot Shlomo.
I am Tom Connors.
And we will catch you next time.